I'm Nathan Harper, preserve archaeologist here at the Springs Preserve. Joining us today out here on trails are some of our staff. They're going to tell us about their favorites, favorite animals, favorite time of year, favorite place out here on the trails. You can join us here on the trails any day that the Springs Preserve is open to enjoy the wildlife, native plants, and the environment that we all live in here in the Mojave Desert. Now let's talk to some of our staff to hear about their favorite things that they find out along the trails.
My favorite animal that I see on the trails every day is our roadrunner. Before working here, I'd never seen a roadrunner, and seeing the cartoon and then actually seeing one in life, it makes a big difference. We see them running around here all the time, and it makes me very happy to see the wildlife that still exists around here running around wild.
I have a lot of favorite animals here at the Springs Preserve, but one of my favorites are northern mockingbirds. They're a small bird with a big attitude and lots of personality, so it's really fun to watch them fly around here, letting us know who's boss here at the Springs Preserve.
I'd say my favorite animal that we see out here on the trails is probably the phenypepla bird. And the reason it's my favorite is because it looks like somebody took a cardinal, just a regular red cardinal, and dipped it in black ink. It's got a beautiful crest on it, and it has bright red eyes. And the other interesting thing about the phenypepla is they feed on mistletoe, which we have on a lot of our mesquite trees here on the trails.
My favorite place that I love to visit at the Springs Preserve is our Cienega. I'm able to walk down there each season and see the different animals that come and visit us, and it's amazing to see all the wildlife that still lives here on property.
I love our trails. That's where I get a lot of great pictures of all our animals here at the Springs Preserve, but probably our botanical gardens are my very favorite spot, just because our gardeners put in a lot of work to create some beautiful landscapes for our visitors and for the staff here.
My favorite place to visit when I'm out hiking on the trails are the locations of the springs. We have both Big Spring and Little Spring are part of our trail system. And for me, it's important because it represents the beginning of Las Vegas. This was the source of all the water that flowed into the Las Vegas creeks and really helped found and start Las Vegas.
One of my favorite things about working at the Springs Preserve, living in the desert, is here on property, I'm actually able to see all the season changes. All the plants changing, the animals, all the flowers blooming. You don't really realize living here that in the summer it gets really hot and we turn back into the desert, and in the spring you see all the flowers bloom. It's an amazing experience.
My favorite season at the Springs Preserve is probably the fall. I love watching how the leaves turn, the weather get a little cooler. We can go out, we can walk, we can enjoy the outdoors without being too hot or too cold, and we get a lot of wildlife, very active in the fall.
You know, we're very lucky here because we do have some variation in seasons. Summers are really brutal out here, out on the trails, but there's plenty of places for shade and ramadas and other things. I really love the fall out here. You see some of the change in the season here. You can actually see the leaves change on some of our trees that are in our Cienega Trail, so that's really nice.
My favorite time of day is around 12 o'clock when the train is running and the playground is full and everybody's here enjoying all of our activities on property.
My favorite time of day here at the Springs Preserve is probably right before we open. Everything's really quiet, you can hear the birds singing. It's kind of like you're taking a breath before you exhale and start the day, and everyone starts coming in and we're really kind of getting excited to open.
I really like getting out here on the trails early in the morning when sort of everything's waking up. You hear all the birds singing, you see the animals coming to life, you hear the city coming to life around you. And it's really nice to be here at the start of the day and just see everything just wake up. We're happy to have you come join us anytime here on the trails of the Springs Preserve to find your own favorites.